Corona. It was strictly Corona.
Apparently, I was just looking at the Yeshiva World News. One of the leaders of Toldos Aaron was nifter also. Matzah Shabbos.
This isn't Yossi Zalman, right?
Yossi died a long time ago.
Yes, he died. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
This is my uncle. He used to come to, whenever I made Simchas, he would come to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And he caught Corona. Really, he was recovering. He was almost completely better. And he was choking on his own self. He was lying in bed, and he was calling for a nurse. Nobody was coming. And by the time they found him, he was in a very bad shape. This was like 2 weeks ago when he was really doing well. He was out of care, and ever since then he was downhill. So
what hospital was he in?
I don't know. Somewhere in Manhattan. I'm not sure. Today's broadcast sponsored?
Yes.
We know Duvi is
the
sponsoring
whole
it.
week. Yeah, the whole week.
So Duvi, Mizalewski, and family is sponsoring the broadcast for the whole week. Thank you very much. Leil Nishbus, Duvi's brother.
Chaim Baruch Ben Ruvain.
Chaim Baruch Ben Ruvain is in the Shom Shalav and Aliyah. We should be a Mel Yosher for your family and for all of Klal Yisrael.
Amen. The outside's tonight.
Right.
Okay. He made many people happy with his music, and he still does. It's so funny how a composer of music makes people happy forever.
He didn't have any children, but at least he lives on through his music. So, and that was his life, making people happy and close to Rabbi Shalom.
I have a clear recollection by my brother Yankee Zoifrov. He came and he was Masameach the whole olam. He really made it made it beautiful. It was really nice. Let's see the Heilige Gemara. Esachai b'mita pater afalamita. So let's see what the Mishnah says. If you carry out someone on a bed, like carrying, I actually said somebody on a stretcher, and we're going to see from today's Gemara that I might be wrong, because it means only someone who could be mobile on their own. So it says esachai b'mita pater afalamita shamita tfeiloi. So no chiyuv for carrying out a person who's alive, and there's no chiyuv for carrying out the mita, because the mita is bottled to the person. Zok the Heilige Gemara. Lema masnisin Rabbi Nosni v'loy Rabbanan. Let's say that our mission is consistent with the shita of Rav Nosson that we're about to quote, but not the shita of the Rabbanan. The Tanya. Hamoitzi behema chayev v'oif l'shus harab. If someone took out a behema chaya and oif into Rishus harabim, bein chayin bein shchuten, whether they're alive or whether they're dead meat, chayiv, there would be a chayiv deraisa. Rab Nosson Omer, al shchuten chayiv, you're only chayiv for carrying out a dead animal, but vel chayin, if you're just leading out a live animal, mishus hayochim, mishus harabim, potter. Why would you be potter? She'achai noises atzmai. An animal that's live carries itself. It's not called that you're carrying. So it's very shver. It's not shver. It seems to say our mission that it says that a chai b'mita is potter would be inconsistent with the Rabbanan, because the Rabbanan say that bein chai, bein meis is going to be chai. Zokrava, maybe there's a distinction between a human and an animal. Amarava filatim Rabbanan, even the Rabbanan who hold that by an animal, sai chai and sai meis, it's considered that you're moitziet. Ad kan like polag Rabbanan aled Rab Nosson ele behema chayev oif the misharveti nafshayu. Rashi says when you try to lead out a behema chaya or oif, they resist. Mishamten klapi mata, they try to pull out umachbid nasman, and they resist. So therefore, even a live animal, there's no din chai noises atzmai. Avol adam chai, the noises atzmai, a live person who really carries himself, afilu rabbanan moidu, even the rabbanan would be moide that there's no chiyuv for carrying a live person. Now this whole concept of chai, noises atzmai, is very difficult to understand, and we need to see Tosfos. Teimalari, lama potter. Why should someone be potter if they carried out a human because of chai noishes atzmai. The imishum shachai mekel atzmai. If you're carrying somebody, he's not carrying himself. He's not like the oren hanoise is noisav. It means a live person you're carrying it, he makes it a little bit easier from his position for you to carry him. But valoy afilu b'masa kal yoser chayiv. The fact that it's a little easier to carry a human should make it mutter. I mean, if you carry out a feather, mishus l'shus, which is very easy to do, you're chayiv.
So wait a minute. So yes, if you give him a piggyback ride, is that the same?
That's a case of carrying a person. So the halacha is your potter because a chai noises atzmai. Fractosis, why? Why? It's for sure more difficult than carrying out a feather, and the feather you would be chayiv. So what is this whole idea of chai noises atzmai that exempts the carrying a person? There's no logic to it. V'imishum the shnayim shasua p'turin, and if you want to say that the concept of chai noises atzmai is using the principles that we learned in the last couple of days, that when you have two people doing something together, that would be potter because it's a malacha that was designed for one person, that wouldn't work either. Because we learned that if two people do a malacha together, one could have done it on his own, and one could not have done it on his own. She'ein hanisa yochalisa atzmai b'lo hanoise. The person being carried cannot carry himself without help of the person who carries him. Sure, the person being carried could sit in a position, could hold himself into a position that might make it easier for the person to carry him, but he can't carry himself. But the person doing the carrying would have been able to carry that other person, even if that person was dead. So kum techois, there should be a chiyuv. So why are we saying that if you carry a live person, you're potter kischai noises atzmai? Where does that come from? Ba'imeri, a big chiddush. The mimishkan gamrinon. It's all about the mishkan. Shleihayu noisim davar chai. They normally did not ever carry something that was alive. So what live things were necessary for the Maisa Mishkan? There was the Tchoshim and the Elim, because they needed their skins for the top, for the Urias. They walked on their own. No one carried those animals. And that's why there's no issue to carry a live animal. What else did they use? What other animals did they use? They used the chalazon fish. The chalazon, I think the base changed it to miyam. Let's see what the base says in the Bach. The chalazon, it doesn't say, okay, miyad hayu poichin oisoi terem yomus. They would kill it right away before it would die. The kamede ispe neshama tfenichalei. The dye, as we learned earlier, sustains better if the animal remains alive till right before we use it. So that the dye should be good. So they never really carried anything live. They let anything live move by itself. So if that's the case, that's the reason why it's potter. So kum techois, the whole idea of a chai noises atzmai is not true. The reason why you're potter if you carry someone alive is because it's not ka'en what they did in the Mishkan. So it's the whole loshon that the Gemara uses, a chai noises atzmai, is just for us to remember it. But really, that's not the reason at all. The reason is because it's not doime to what they did in the Mishkan.
I don't understand that because I understand it, but once we have the concept of carrying, do we not carry everything that was carried in the base of Mikdash? Once you have the concept of carrying, you don't carry anything. What's the difference? What it was or what?
In other words, nobody carried out a cell phone in the base of Mikdash.
Whatever, yeah.
And you see this,
whatever it is. Just like we said when I asked you the question about kahas, right? You said, well, once we have the concept of carrying, so we extrapolate it to what they did, right?
So you're asking, why do you need specifically
an
example of a chai that was carried once you know that carrying is usher? So
you're saying does Isser only apply to what we carried? It doesn't. Right?
Is that not an issue of derisive durabanan? Would you be over for carrying a live person or live animal midaraisa without an Erev? Or you'd only be over
It says
Midrabanan?
chayiv. Chayiv means it's a deraisa.
Chayiv means it's deraisa.
So I think Duvi's kasha is the teretz to the kasha that I asked. What I asked was, why does the Gemara give the reason for a tour of carrying a live person? Because Chai Noishas Atzmai, it should have said it's not in the Malachas of Mishkan. Duvi asked the kasha that was 180-degree polar opposite. He asked, why is it taka not included? Why do you make these distinctions? So maybe that's what the Gemara means. Since Chai Noishas Atzmai, that's taka very different from regular carrying. Regular carrying, no matter what it is, the carrier is doing all the work. But since Chai Noishas Atzmai, maybe that's the reason why we make that distinction. Maybe that's why we say that it's not included in the prohibition of carrying that the Torah tells us. Because it's a very distinct difference.
Isn't carrying a different lav?
It's a lower quality lav.
No, it's mentioned.
Gerua, it's called.
That's one of the only lavim that are mentioned in the Torah. Layetze, it says Layetze on Shabbos, right?
Right. That's also a drash. It's not. It says al yetzish from koyim, but it doesn't specifically say not allowed to carry.
But I know, but we learn from there. We have no other malachas that we learn from a drash.
That's right. Right. So there is a distinction between the malacha of Eitzah and all the other malachas.
Right.
But Toby's still asking, once you know Eitzah's Osir, where do you get this from to start creating different categories? Once you know the malacha of Eitzah's Osir, it should be Osir across the board.
Oh, so my comment is that it may have nothing to do with the Mishkan. It's a separate lav, maybe like Los Avaruesh.
Maybe, but I'm speaking to what Tosus is saying. Tosus is saying is directly because of what they carry.
Right. So I'm questioning that now. I'm questioning the
okay.
But
anyways,
there must be a bigger distinction between stam carrying someone alive, and that's why Duvi's Kasha highlights that we need a special reason, like Chai Noishas Atzmai. You can't just say it's not Daimon to the Mishkan, because why not say it's a broad thing and carrying anything? So that's probably why you need Chai Noishas Atzmai to make.
While we're on this, so the Svara Chai Noishas Atzmai is that the individual kind of helps himself. I think that right. He mentioned that he bound. I've seen comments. He bounces. Somehow he's helping along. If he resists, however, and doesn't want to be carried, you should be chayiv. Is there a distinction there?
No one seems to make a distinction as to what the person was doing, if he was resisting or not. Listen, I know the concept of Chai Noishas Atzmai, but when you're on Simchas Torah, it's about a seventh of Kafah, and your kid still wants to be on your shoulder, it doesn't feel so Chai Noishas Atzmai anymore at that point. Tati, what do you mean I'm heavy? Noishas Atzmai. I said, I don't know. And the day after Simchas Torah, when your back is killing you from holding your kid on your shoulder all day, you don't feel the Chai Noishas Atzmai either. Okay, let's see what the Gemara says later. So the Gemara wants to say, even though there's a machloikus, if you say Chai Noishas Atzmai by a live animal, by a human, could be everybody is moide that Chai Noishas Atzmai. Amalei Rav Ada bar Ava l'Rava. Rav Ada, the son of Rav Ava, told Rava, "V'hadat nan." We learned in a brayso, Ben b'seira matir b'sus. Now there's a halacha that you're not allowed to sell animals to a goy. The reason why you're not allowed to sell animals to a goy is because we're afraid if you sell animals to a goy, you might lend them to a goy or let them use them to try him out. And if they do a malacha with your animal, we know a person is mitzvah al shusas behemtoi. So because of that, they banned selling all animals to goyim. But a horse, you're allowed to sell to a goy. You know why? Because even if you lend your sus to the goy, what is a sus used for? It's used for people to ride on. So even if the goy rides on your horse on Shabbos, it won't be an issue deraisa because Chai Noishas Atzmai. The Tanya ben B'Seir Mata B'Sus because there would be no chiyuv. Let's see Rashi. Mater b'sus l'moichoi l'nochri. Ben Beseir allows you to sell a horse to a goy unlike any other animal. Mipnei shemalachas asus im haya adam oisa oisa. The malacha that asus does, even if a person would do it, ein chayiv alechatos to l'rechiva oimid, because what is the malacha that asus does? What does asus carry for you? It carries humans. And there is no daraisa iser on Shabbos to carry a human.
It also plows. It also carries material. There's other things besides carrying humans.
I guess they used oxen for plowing. I guess the primary use that people used horses for must have been for people, and maybe for loads they may have used donkeys. But it must be that we're assuming that he's not going to use it for packages, because then this whole heter wouldn't work. And the whole reason why there's a prohibition to sell a behema gasa to a goy, we're afraid that you might lend it to the goy, or mishum schiris, you might rent it to the goy, and there it would be indeed aser, because a person is mitzvah al shvisas behemtai. But the sus, a horse, inami, the moishel umugar, even if you lend it or rent it to a goy, lavi sur dairaisika, it wouldn't be an issue dairaisa. She'enzu malacha itzel asus. The gabe asur shvisas behema malacha ksiva. So I think that this is clearly answering what Avigdor mentioned earlier. Avigdor wanted to know, would there be an Isur D'Rabbanan to carry a Chai? So it seems that there is an Isur D'Rabbanan. It's just not an Isur D'Oraisa. So Adam Chai did not earlier about Rabbi. Ben Beseir Mater Besus. Ben Beseir holds that you're allowed to sell a horse. And the reason why, Utani Ben Beseir Mater Besus, Bepnei Shu Oisa Ben Melacha, because even if the sus would be ridden upon by the guy, that's not a malacha that has a chiyav chatas. And Reb Yochanan commented that Ben Beseira v'Rab Nosson amru davar echad, that from the fact that you see this idea of chai noises atzmai, that indicates that Ben Beseira and Reb Nosson hold the same thing. Problem is, we just said that when it comes to carrying humans, even the Rabbanan agree with Reb Nosson, because we just wanted to say that the Rabbanan is also consistent with our Mishnah, and it's only animals that the Rabbanan are mechayiv if you carry them live or dead. But humans, you're going to be potter. So the Amrit, the loy polag Rabbanan alei Reb Nosson, ella bebehema chayiv ha'oif. If you're going to argue that the Rabbanan don't argue on Reb Nosson by a human, only by behema chayiv and oif, mishum de besharviti nafshayu, because animals don't help in you carry them, my Uri ben Beseira for Reb Nosson. Why did Rabbi Yochanan just say that Ben Beseira only agrees to Reb Nosson? The Amrit Afila Rabbanan Maidu. Even the Rabbanan should be Maida to Ben Beseira that you're allowed to sell a horse to a goy, because the Rabbanan are also Maida that there's no Chiyav Daraisa to carry a person on Shabbos. So to Gemara, you're right. But we're not speaking about a regular horse, like David Zoltan said earlier. Some horses are used for other purposes. We're speaking about a horse that's designated only to carry birds. Is there indeed such a thing as a horse that's designated only to carry birds? So we're in Iko de Veviaidan. And Rashi says what that means is, there used to be, he brings down the article, princes used to go falcon hunting. They used to use their falcons to go hunting with, and they treated their falcons as royalty. If I remember correctly, I once saw a picture of an airplane that was chartered by an Arab sheikh that had seats for his team of falcons. He had his beloved falcons, this Arab sheikh. Avigdor shaking his head up and down, meaning he's about to find that picture. And I remember seeing it. They care so much about their animals, they'll chop your head off if you look at them the wrong way. But their falcons are kodesh kochim. They get seats on an airplane that was chartered specifically for them, because when they would use their falcons to go hunting, that was a kodesh kochim. So they didn't want their falcons to chas v'sholom get tired on their way out to the field where they were going to do their hunting, so they would transport their falcons to the field on the horse. Chas v'sholom, they wouldn't tie up their beloved falcons. They would just be sitting there perched on the horse, able to leave, come and go as they wanted. Like different types of falcons, lots of chirifus, and they use these birds to hunt other birds. Those falcons resting upon the horse wouldn't resist the loik shiri. They weren't even tied down to the horse. They were free to come and go. Just like in that airplane, those falcons, I don't think were tied. They were free to go to the bathroom, to go to the back, to get some extra cookies from the stewardess. They moved around. So therefore, these animals would also be in the category of Chai Noises Atzmai because they're not restrained. Because it's only Reb Nosson who said that by an animal you have Chai Noises Atzmai. Zok the Heilige Gemara weiter. Amar Reb Yochanan, umoide Reb Nosson bekafus. Reb Nosson is moide if they were tied. If a person was tied, or bein oif bein adam, it doesn't make a difference. If whatever it is that you're talking about, live animal or a live person, if they're restrained, then Reb Nosson's moide that you don't say achai noises atzmai. So this is very relevant because I mentioned earlier that somebody in a stretcher would be chai noises atzmai. It very much depends. If the person's in the stretcher because the ambulance guy made him sit in the stretcher, that's one thing. But if the person cannot walk and is immobile, then there might not be the halacha of a chai noises atzmai. Amar vada bar masna labaye. I wonder if we should just see what the halacha says. Gimel. Let's see if it says in the Shulchan Aruch. No, he doesn't quote a Shulchan Aruch, just a Rambam that he quotes. Okay, let's see what the Gemara says weiter. Umoidir Reb Nosson bekafus. Umoidir Reb Nosson bekafus. Oh, I think they already uploaded the picture of the falcon. Let's see if I can find it. Thank you, Victor. Oh, here we go. That was the picture I was talking about. This is it. So these are the falcons that we're talking about that sat on the horses and were treated like royalty. I hope I wasn't sitting on the seat of that plane.
Look how
after these
from they
birds.
are. They cover their eyes so they can't see the TV screens.
Oh, their eyes are covered?
Yeah.
Just by the way,
They can't watch the videos on the plane.
just by the
They
way,
have
I
to wear
once
masks.
saw Yossi Zalman.
Yes.
I once saw that Rabbeinu Tam practiced falconry,
He did?
and yes, and
Was that-
and because
Not
of
for
this,
sport? For sport?
yeah, he actually gave it, and he said, and I saw a vort attributed to Rabbeinu Tam that when he said when Yaakov gave Masha Boli Yodoi, he gave and Rashi teaches that pasuk meant jewels. Rabbeinu Tam said it means that Yaakov gave Esav hunting birds, falcons.
Are you talking about Eliphaz when Eliphaz came to attack him?
No, when Yaakov Avinu gave presents to Esav to appease
Oh,
him.
when they met after the
Parshas Vayishlach. Mincha biyadei.
No, so it says Masha Bo Liyodoi, and Rashi teaches that means jewels, easily transportable stuff. Rabbeinu Tam says that it means a falcon. And I don't remember exactly where I saw it, but I guess it was common. Rabbeinu Tam was a big usher, by the way, and he did practice falconry, and that was just as an aside, the pshat that he gave in that pasuk. Don't ask me where I saw it because I don't remember where.
It's funny that Rabbeinu Tam, since he engaged in falconry, he learned that Esav, that Yaakov gave Esav falcons. So look, if you go boating, so they would say if you had met Esav, you gave him a boat.
No, it's just that he had a different understanding in Masha Bali Yodon.
I hear. Wow. I figured, what was that picture you just showed?
It's a picture of falconry in medieval France.
Uh-huh.
And it actually says, it's from an article in a journal called the medievalists.net. It's called Jewish Hawking in Medieval France, Falconry, Rabbeinu Tam, and the Toseftas.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, wow. So Rabbeinu Tam engaged in the sport.
I mean, I think they did it to hunt, so I don't know.
Victor,
They
thank
could
you.
Train the falcons not to kill the birds that they
So
catch.
they did it to get food. It wasn't just for
No,
sport.
I think it's to get leather for his Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin.
I think he only went hunting at night after the Rabbeinu Tam Zman.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'll be home at sundown. That's what he told his wife.
Victor, I have
Because he-
something that I learned about 10 years ago. I'll ask you about it where I saw it too.
All right, this is an 86 page long thesis on falconry in medieval France and Rabbeinu Tam.
It actually becomes how they speak about it halachically because the
Yeah,
falcons.
It goes into the halakha. I'll post it to the group if you're interested
Right.
in 86 pages. Somebody had a lot of time on their hands.
He probably wrote it for
Or
his
needed a grant
PhD.
or something.
Yeah, sounds like a thesis.
Yeah, they used to put shoes on the falcon's talons so that the falcon wouldn't kill the animals.
Right.
Just capture him. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, gewaltig. So sagt der Heilige Gemara, my job not makofs. Omar lay Reb Agudah bar Masda labaye. V'hani persoi. These Persians were so indulgent, and they were so what's the word for it?
Decadent.
Decadent. They're so decadent. The Haman the Kvisi dami. They can't move themselves. They're as if they're immobile. They're as if they're tied up. And Rashi explains, Haman the Kvisi dami. When they would ride their horses, they would be in such elaborate dress that they could barely move. And besides that, they were so lazy. They never would put their foot on the ground. They only were carried. So I call those people, they have full use of all their limbs, yet they're crippled. So those types of people are Chamada Kfisi Dame, and Oiba Zoi, for them it might be also to carry them. Which means that we said that it's kafus. So if Rabbi Yochanan says that it's kafus, even that Rabbi Nosson is moed of kafus, and he says that Rabbi Yochanan B'Seir Rabbi Nosson Amrud over Echad, meaning that humans, there's a din chai noises atzmai. How could that be? You see that there's humans that are, you don't say noises atzmai by kafus. So Rashi, Rabbi Yochanan ben B'Seir Rabbi Nosson Amrud over Echad, Amrit moed Rabbi Nosson b'kafus. But you also said that he's moed if it's tied up. And if you're going to say that we still line the animal that is matter by a chai, is by a sus am yuchad la'ifos, mishum arbonon ukminon. We only stole the line that way because we wanted it to be consistent with our arbonon. The pligi alei well the memar te'ilu ba'adam shnei mishavan lifter. By a person mimonashech it's going to be potter. Be bekafus moide Rab Nosson, but if Rab Nosson is moide, even by a human that's tied up, that you don't say a chai noises asmai, hechi misukma, the ben beseir Rab Nosson, how could you say that ben beseir holds like Rab Nosson? Because of the svara mishum the chai noises asmai, ha ben beseir mater afil limkar le parsim. Ben beseir, when he said you're allowed to sell horses to goyim, he didn't exclude Persians. He said you're allowed to sell it to all goyim. And we know by Persians it could be a deraisa. The Chaman Chavisi Dami. The Chala Uma is Karlu Nachim. When it says it's matter to sell a susta Nachim, it's inclusive of all nations. The Savar, the Kavas Nesas Atzmai. So it must be that he holds that even someone tied, because a Persian we consider tied, and nevertheless you could still sell to him. Zok Gemara, that's not because a Persian is truly incapable of carrying himself. It's really Ramis Rucha Hudanakatlahu. Gasus Aruach. Hadloi Maska Becharer Gasusu. It's not that they physically cannot, they don't want to. but avada they could, and therefore they're not considered kafas. And I'll prove it to you. Ahu Pardashcha, there was this Persian officer, the Rosach Malki Iluya. The king got angry at him and wanted to kill him. Veroid plus a parsei bikari. And you know what? With his own feet, he actually was able to run 3 parsoim. So that proves that, in fact, they're not immobile, they're not incapable of walking, they just don't want to walk. But avada they could, and therefore they're not considered kafas. Okay, Zok Helig Gemara weiter. The Chen Kezayis V'Nemei. So there's an interesting Mishnah. Let's just look at the Mishnah again inside. Okay, here's the Mishnah. I think this is the Mishnah. Here it is, yeah. No, this is not the Mishnah. It's the next plot. Here we are. So it says, "V'chein kezayis v'nemeis, u'kezayis v'nevela, u'kadosh v'nasheretz." Any one of these that you carry out, you're going to be chayiv. Reb Shimon holds, if you carry out a kezayis v'nemeis, kezayis v'nevela, or kadosh v'nasheretz, you're not chayiv. So let's see what the reason for this is. Zok the Heilige Gemara. Omer Rabba Bar Bachan Omer Reb Yochanan. Reb Yosef Omer Reb Shimon ben Lakish. Poiter Hoyer Reb Shimon who holds that you're potter if you carry out a kezayis from the mace, he holds that you're potter af b'moitzi es a mace l'koivrei. Now there's 2 reasons why you would take a mace out. The pashto reason why it's a malacha shenshri chalagufa is you don't want the mace in the house. So you take it away, you throw it, you put it into Rosh Hashanah, you get it out of your way. So that's clearly a malacha shenshri chalagufa. I'm not taking the mace out because I need the mace to be in the Rosh Hashanah. I'm taking the mace out because I don't want the mace to be here. So my malacha of haitzah, I'm not really taking it out because I need the haitzah. I just need this out of my way. Zok the Gemara that Reb Shimon would say it's potter af b'moitzias hameis l'koivrei. Now I'm taking out the mace because I need the mace to be in a specific space. So that's already more tzricha l'gufa. So let's see what Rashi says. Af b'moitzias hameis l'koivrei v'loi tema loi potar ele b'manicha l'chutz. Don't say that. When did Reb Shimon say that carrying out a mace is a malacha shetzricha l'gufa? Therefore, it's potter only if you just put it outside. The ein tzorich loy l'gufa shel moitzi v'loy l'gufa shel haitzah. So now Rashi is giving us a lot more insight. There's 2 things. There's 2 factors to consider when you're looking at something that's a malacha shetzricha l'gufa. A is l'gufay shel moitzi. I don't need the person who's taking the mace out. He doesn't need that keli outside. V'loy l'gufa shel haitzah. And the haitzah is not needed either. Because even if he took it out for the mace, if he took out the mace because he wanted to bury the mace, again, the person doesn't need the mace outside, but the mace needs to be outside because the mace needs to be buried. Even that's called a malacha shetzricha l'gufa. Amar Rava, u'moider Reb Shimon b'mar lachbar boy. If you took out an axe or some type of digging device, a spade, how does he touch mar? Is it touches a spade or an axe? Let's see what he says. Mar is a hoe. So it's again, it's a digging material. It's a digging tool. So if someone carried out a hoe in order to be able to dig with it, that's called lagufa, because that's using it for the person. The person who's removing this shovel is removing the shovel to be able to use the shovel for his benefit. Unlike the mace, where I'm not taking the mace out, even if I'm trying to bury the mace, it's not for my benefit. I'm taking it out for the mace's benefit. So Reb Shimon is moided that where will it be also b'mar lachbar boy, like a shovel to dig with, the Sefer Torah liquors boy, or if you're taking the Sefer Torah out from your house to your backyard, so you could lay on Shabbos in your backyard minyan, there he would also be moided that if it was going from a Rosh Hashanah to a Rosh Hashanah. So for instance, if you didn't lay in your backyard because there are fences in between the backyards, rather you did Kriyas Torah on the street, there he would be moida that it would be usher because you're taking out the Sefer Torah not for the Sefer Torah's benefit, but for the benefit of the moitzi because he needs the Sefer Torah out there, the chayiv.
What's the chiddush of the of the hoe? I mean, a hoe is a klisha malach to lister. So why?
No, what we're saying is it's only usher if the purpose of the haitzah was to benefit the person who's taking it out. Lafuke to benefit the mace. So we're trying to contrast it with taking out a mace to bury. When you're taking out a mace to bury, the person taking the mace doesn't need that burial. The mace needs that burial. But he's saying if it's not about what the dover, it's not about the thing that I'm taking out, if that thing needs to be outside. It's about the person doing the malacha. I need it to be outside. And that's the distinction that Rav is making.
Sorry, I don't quite get it. So Reb Shimon, it says you're potter for carrying out a mace.
Correct.
And Rava said that Reb Shimon would still say it's also to carry out the hoe to bury the mace.
No. We're not even talking about a mace anymore. You wanna dig in your flower garden.
So why would you have a havamina that that Reb Shimon would say it's mutter to carry out the hoe?
Well, the Gemara is going to get there in a second. That's exactly the Gemara's kasha. Pshita. Why would I have a havamina that Shimon would say it's mutter? Of course it's mutter. This is a classic case of hoitzah, reshus l'shus. Zok Gemara, and if you're going to ha nami malacha shetzricha legufahi, if you might suggest and stretch that even when you're taking out a hoe to dig with, that's a malacha shetzricha legufa, and maybe you need both. Maybe you need the person taking out the keli needs it out there, and the keli itself needs to be out there, and we'll see examples of that in a minute. If even taking out a shovel to dig with is not called a malacha tzricha legufa, ela malacha shetzricha legufa l'pshimin hechem eshkachas. So then, what is a malacha tzricha legufa? If even this, like Avigdor is saying, if this is obviously an isser, if this is not going to be usher, what else could possibly be usher? Zok the Gemara, you need Rava to tell you that this would be usher, because you might have taken it to an extreme, and you might have said, Mao de Tema, Reb Shimon is not going to make a chiv malacha adika legufay ulagufa. You might think that Reb Shimon requires an order for a malacha haitzah to be usher, that you're taking out the whatever you're taking out, not only because you taking it out need it outside, but the item itself needs to be outside. And what's an example of that? Kagoin mar lasas leitas vilach par, and to dig with. So if you have an axe that was nicked, it was damaged, and you need to take it into a repair shop to fill in its nicked portion, so you're taking it out, and you also intend to dig with it. So now there's a dual purpose in you removing this mar from the Rishus HaYachid. A is to benefit the tool itself, and B is to benefit the person who's using the tool. And you might think that only in such a case would Reb Shimon say there's an isser. Kamash Malon, that if it's only to benefit the person that's taking it out, that's enough to make it into a malacha hatzricha legufa. And by a Sefer Torah, it will be lahagi of a likrish boy. If a Sefer Torah had a mistake, it needed to be corrected. So you're carrying out the Sefer Torah, A, for the purposes to benefit the Sefer Torah, you're going to get a sefer to correct it. And B, you also plant the land with it. So therefore, there's two things, there's two benefits. Legufa, legufa, maybe only there will Reb Shimon say there's a chiyuv. Kamash Malon, that it's not relevant what if it benefits the object, it's all totally in if it benefits the person that's taking out this item. Hahu shivcha, there was a corpse, there was a dead person. Dava b'Drukra was in the city of Drukra, and it was on Shabbos. And Shara Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak lafuke lakarmelis. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak allowed them to remove the body to take it to a karmelis. Under what conditions? Zokt Rashi, shahaya mutal bebizoyim. The corpse was lying there in shame. Or there was a fire and we didn't want the corpse to get burnt. Or it was in the sun and it would get rotted. V'imi shum tiltal. What about the Isser Muksa? Our Mishnah, our Gemara here seems to just to be discussing the problem of Haitzah. But what about the problem of Muksa? So on that, Zot Gemara, Meniach olav kikar itinik. For that, you could be meniach olav kikar, which is what they did by David HaMelech. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan, Achua, the Marbrei Deravana, Rabbi Yochanan, the brother of Marbrei Deravana, said to Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak, come on, who is Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak relying upon to be mater moving this body into a carmelis? It must be Reb Shimon, who says it's not chayiv by malacha shenshricha lagufa. And here you're just taking the mace out for the message purpose. But Amar the Potter Reb Shimon mechiv chatas. Reb Shimon didn't say it's mutar l'chatchila. He just said that there would be no chiv chatas, but he sued Rabbanan mi'ika. So how could you, Rab Nachman bar Yitzchak, allow people to take this mace out to a carmelis? Reb Shimon would not allow it. Reb Shimon just says there's no chiv chatas. Amalei halakim the eilis be'at. Not only are we sure that it'll be mutter and ganzen, even you yourself would carry it out. And v'afilul Reb Yehuda, and never mind being soymich on Reb Shimon, who holds a malach shenshru chalagufa is not also is not chayiv midaraisa. Even Reb Yehuda, who holds a malach shenshru chalagufa, is chayiv midaraisa. In this case, even Reb Yehuda would agree that you're allowed to move this mace out. You know why? The Miko Amina Rishus Harabim. Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak didn't say that you can carry out this mace to a Rishus Harabim. The Carmelis Kamina. A Carmelis, at the worst case, is only a Derabanan. So all Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak was doing was being matir and Isur Derabanan. And everybody agrees that Godol covered abriyos shedoiches loisas hashavatayra. That when it comes to covered abriyos and taking a mess out, so it shouldn't be mutal bebezoin is covered abriyos. Everybody agrees that it's doichaloisa. Surely we would be able to violate a rabbanon, or the rabbanon would waive the isser of taking this mace into a carmelis because of covered abriyos. So there's nothing to Reb Shimon. It would be unanimous, and the heter is because it's only a rabbanon which we waive because of covered abriyos. Tanan Hosam.
Covered abriyos is deicha everything.
It's deicha for sure at rabbanon.
Yeah, but not a deraisa, you mean.
Correct. Look, I don't remember the case over here. Where
So you couldn't take it out to from a Rishus Haryachah to Rishus Harabim.
Correct. That he would not have necessarily allowed. Okay, so let's see what the Gemara says. The halacha is there's a pasuk that says Hishomer b'nega tzaras, and because of that, you're not allowed to destroy a nega if you have it. It's called tampering with the evidence. It says Hishomer b'nega tzaras. Rashi says if someone has a nega tzaras, he's not allowed to cut it off because he doesn't want to be tamid. So the halacha is, we know that one of the simonim of a nega, if you have a regular nega on your skin, there has to be 2 white hairs that grow in it, and that is a siman tumah. So what happens if a toilish simoni tumah? A person had a nega, and he had 2 white hairs, and he didn't want to be tummy, so he tore out the 2 hairs. Or vehichva michya. If someone had a burn, and as the burn was starting to heal, it created a nega, the halach is you have to have michyas bosar chai baseis. There has to be a small area in the center, we'll call it the eye of the storm, where it's healed, where it's no burn. So what if he went and burnt that area? He caused himself a wound in that area, again, to avoid becoming tamei from a nega. So the halach is over b'loisasa. He's over a loisasa. It's a deraisa of shomer b'nega hatzaras. Itmar frek the Gemara. What would be if achas mishtayim? He had 2 hairs. You need 2 hairs for a siman tumah. He didn't pull them both out. He only pulled one out. So even though he didn't pull them both out, but he also now made his negas not tamei anymore because now he no longer has the 2 hairs. So the Gemara says chayiv. Everybody holds that would also be chayiv because again he is being metaher his nega. What about achas mishalish? What if he had 3 hairs? So even by removing 1 hair, he's still tamei. Now he puts himself into a situation where if another hair falls out, he'll become tahar. But the act that he actually did will not make him tahar. So what is the halach in that case? Rab Nachman Omer Chayiv. Rab Nachman holds your Chayiv. Rashi says, no, we'll see the Gemara first. And Reb Sheshes Amar Potter. Reb Sheshes holds it's Potter. Reb Nachman Amar Chayiv, because Ahani Maisov, even though it didn't actually matire him when he pulled out the third hair, but it did have an impact, because the Imishtak Lachad Achriti, right now, he brought him to the point where there's no more margin. If another hair gets pulled out, Oz Latuma, he will now become tar. Reb Sheshes Amar Potter, because Hashtamias Ha'is Latuma, the action that he did not remove him. That's the machlokes. Amar Reb Sheshes, Mina Aminallah, and now we'll see how this shaila about nega charas, which seemingly has no connection to our Gemara, we're going to see it's very connected. Amar Reb Sheshes, Mina Aminallah. How do I know that you're only mechuyev if you pull out the hair that makes the difference between tamei and tahira? But if you pull out a third hair, it would not be tamei. Tetnan, because we learned in our Mishnah, v'chein kezayis min hameis ukezayis min hanevela chayiv. So we know right off the bat that why is a kezayis min hameis chayiv? We know when it comes to food items, I mean, not that a mace is food or nevela, you need groigris. So the significance of a kezayis we learned in the Mishnah is a halachic significance. Since a kezayis min hameis is matama ba'oil, a kezayis min hanevela is matama if you touch it, and a sa'ira of a sheretz, which is the third item in the Mishnah. So the significance of this amount is this is the critical amount to be able to create tumah. So therefore, you're chayiv if you carried out a kazayis of one of these things. Hachatzi zayis, what if I only carried out a half a kazayis? Now, a half a kazayis has no ramification for tumah because a half a zayis isn't tumah anyway. There it would be potter. We have a brayso that argues, Vatanya Chatzi Zayis Chayiv. We have another brayso that says that a half a zayis that was removed would create a Chiv Chatos. My love, so logic would dictate that the way for us to understand these two braysos is Hal the Tanya Chayiv. The brayso that says Chayiv for a half a zayis is the Afik Chatzi Zayis Mi Kazayis. There was a kazayis there. You removed the half a kazayis. So by you removing the half a kazayis, you made this oil hameis tar from Tomei, because you remove the shear required, you diminish the shear required to make the Tumas oil hameis. V'haditan potter, and the brayso that says, or our Mishnah where we're medayik that Chatzi Zayis is potter, is the Afik Chatzi Zayis Mikazayis Umechsa, where it took out a half a kazayis, but remaining there is still a kazayis, therefore my removal didn't have a halachic impact. So Reb Sheshes wants to bring a raya from the steer of these two braysos that in fact it's only considered a significant action if you actually created a change in status from Tumah to Tahira with your removal. So too, if you pulled out one hair out of two, you made a change in status. But if you took one hair out of three, where it didn't change the status, or if you took a chatzi kazayis from a mass of nevela that was only a kazayis and a half, where it does not make a change in status, there it would not be an isser. Reb Nachman held it would be an isser. So how is Reb Nachman going to explain the stira between the dik from our Mishnah and the brayso quoted? So the Gemara, idi v'idi chayiv. Sai, if you took one out of a half a kazayis away from a kazayis, you'll be chayiv, because there it's a change in status. And sai, if you took a half a kazayis away from a kazayis and a half, because now there's no more leeway, and if any more chesaron occurs, the tumah will be gone. So what does the brayso mean if you took a half a kazayis, you'd be potter? V'haditan potter is the afik chatzi zayis mimes godol. If you just took a half a kazayis away, and not only doesn't have a direct impact, it doesn't even have an indirect impact, because even if the mess becomes nechsar even more, it would still be tamei, because you have way more than the kazayis. That's the case where it has absolutely no impact, and that's the case where Nachman would be moida that it would be potter. So now we're going to get up to a new Mishnah, which seems to be a departure from the subject matter of this parak, but the Mishnah puts it in here, and it's one of my nisyonis on Shabbos, and that is hanoitel tziparnav zubazu. If you pick your nail, you pick off one nail with your other hand on Shabbos. Oy bishinov, or you bite your nail on Shabbos. V'chein sari, if you pull a hair out of your head on Shabbos. V'chein tzvami, if you pull a hair out of your mustache on Shabbos. That's a nisayon I never had. V'chein zkanai, or if you pour a hair out of your beard on Shabbos. I see Victor's already playing with his beard, right? V'chein hagoidelas. Rashi says that means a woman who braids or creates, braids her hair, builds up her hairstyle. V'chein hakoichelas, which Rashi says she's putting on eyeshadow. V'chein hapoisekes, which actually has two pshatim. It either means that she's taking hair off. I'm sorry. It either means she's combing her hair out to separate her hairs from tangling, or Rashi says it might mean that it's like a waxing. You put some type of dough on her skin, and when she pulls it off, it takes out the small. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it's not a waxing. I apologize. Rashi, it's madimus abosar. She puts some type of dough on her skin, and when she takes it off, it leaves a reddish color, so it creates a healthy look, like what blush is used for. So in all these cases, Rabbi Eliezer mechayiv, Rabbi Eliezer holds mechayiv, v'chachamim oisrin mishum shvus. So everybody holds it's also to do. The question is it a deraisa or is it a derbanan? And we're going to have to see what these isurim are and what their rules are. So zok tehela g'lamor Amar Belozer machloikis biyad. The machloikis in our Mishnah of whether or not there's a chiyuv deraisa is if you cut your nail by hand. Rashi b'hashem noitim b'yodoi v'loi b'kli. Who the patir rabbanon shein derech giza bekach bechoil. Normally, so now we've just clued in the isur here is isur giza. Giza is to shear wool off a lamb. Bechoil, it's normally done with a keli. If you do it by hand, it's not the normal way to do it, and that's why it's derabbanon. Lachloikus biyad avol bekli. If you use a nail clipper on Shabbos, chayiv, that's a chiyav deraisa. In fact, the more pshita zu bezutnan. Why do I need Rabbi Eliezer to tell me that the machloikis is without a keli when you're doing it by hand? It's very explicit in the Mishnah, in fact, that we're referring to someone doing it by hand. It said zu bezu. I'm taking off nail A using nail B. So tomorrow, Mao de Tema Rabbanon bechli nami patri. You might have said that the Rabbanon hold that it's potter even if you use nail clippers. The reason why the Tana highlighted that the case is when you took off your nail with using a nail, not a keli, is like the acha koichet to Rabbi Eliezer, to indicate that the Rabbi Eliezer is mechayiv you midaraisa, even if you didn't use a kli. Kamash malon, that no, it's to say that the Rabbanon are only mekel if you didn't use a kli. V'am Rabbi Eliezer, machloikis la'atzmai. This machloikis as to whether or not it would be asur deraisa is only if you were taking off your own nails. So Rashi says, "Fakert, where does Rabbi Eliezer hold that there's a chiyuv deraisa by cutting a nail without a nail clipper? That's only if you're cutting your own nail, because a person could bite his nail to perfection, could peel his nail to perfection. You could move yourself around, you can adjust to get just the perfect cut, professional cut, even without a nail clipper. But if you're going to be cutting your friend's nails, if you're a manicurist, then someone giving a manicure needs to use tools. They cannot do it by hand, and then it will be potter. In fact, clearly the Mishnah says we're talking about someone doing his own nails. So you would have thought that Rabbi Eliezer is mechayiv even somebody else's nails. And the reason why the Mishnah focuses dafka on your own nails is to say that even the Rabbanon, even by your own nails, they're mekel and hold that it's only asur midrabanan. Kamash malon, that Rabbi Eliezer holds that someone else's nails would be potter unless you used a keli, because then you wouldn't be able to do it properly. And the same thing if someone pulls hair out. Tana, hanoitel mole piazug. If someone pulls hair out, how much hair? The amount of hair that the opening of a scissor would cut off. Chayiv, that's chayiv. The kama mole piazug, how much hair do you have to pull out in order to be chayiv because of goizes? It's 2 hairs. Frank the Gemara, you cannot say that mole piazug means 2 hairs, because vatanya v'lakorcha shtayim. The Brisa says if you take out 2 hair, if you take on Shabbos, the amount of hair that you have to take out is mole piazug. but there's also an isser for someone who's mourning a mace to pull hair out. And the Brisa says, Lagabi Isser Shabbos, it's Piazug. Lagabi Karcha, it's 2. So clearly, 2 and Piazug must be different, because the Brisa is making a distinction between the amount of hairs you have to take out to be over Shabbos and the amount of hairs you have to take out to be over Layikru Karcha. Ema, no, amend the Brisa and say it's V'chein Lekarcha Shtayim. And really, they're both the same shear, and that means 2 hairs. Tanya Mihachi, Hanotel Mole Piazug b'Shabbos Chai. If someone pulls hair out, the amount of Mole Piazug on Shabbos will be Chai. And the Brisa says explicitly the Kama Mole Piazug, and how much is Mole Piazug? Shtayim. Rabbi Eliezer holds even 1 hair would be a Chiyav Deraisa. Umoidim Chachamim Rabbi Eliezer b'Malakit Leveinos Mitoch Shchoros. Rabbi Eliezer holds there's only 1 hair, and everybody agrees that if you're pulling out white hairs amongst the black hairs, then afilu achas chayiv, because v'dover zeh afilu b'choil aser mishum shenemer lo yilbush gever simlos isha. I tell people I don't shave; I just cut off my white hairs. So the point is that it's normal and it's a malacha to take out 1 hair if the purpose of it is to pull out a white hair from amongst black hairs, and that's their chanoshim. And because of that, it says v'der chanoshim lahak b'al kach ulos noise. But men don't do that; it would be awesome. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer Siporen Shapirish Ruba. This is something that I want to learn the Shulchan Aruch about, because this is very relevant. Whenever you have like a hangy on Shabbos, your cuticles hanging out, and you have this intense urge to just rip it off. So the halacha is as follows. Tziparin Shapirish Ruba, your nails half off, mostly off, and you just want to get that little piece off. Or Vetzitzin Shapar Sharuban, or your cuticles, that you have this little dry skin around your nails that you want to pull off. So the halach is biyad mutter. According to Reb Shimon ben Elazar, you're allowed to pull that nail off, you're allowed to pull that cuticle off with your hand, but bekli chayiv chatas. But if you used a clipper for it, then it would be aser midaraisa. Frag the Gemara, mi'ika midi. Do you ever find iser to bechli chayiv chatas? If you do it with a keli, it's chayiv midaraisa. Uviyad mutal lechatchila, and if you do it by hand, you're mutal lechatchila. We always learn that when you do something klachiyad, when you do something not the way it's done, it's going to be mutar midaraisa, but it's still aser midarbanan. And here is a unique case in Shabbos where you're not doing it kederech that's malacha b'choil, that we're saying it's mutar lechatchila. You never find something like that. So tomorrow halchik amar pirshu ruban, if it's mostly cut off already, then biyad mutar b'chli potter avalosser. Even with a keli, it will be potter avalosser, but by hand you're allowed to take it off. Loi pirshu ruban, but if it's not mostly dangling, it's just a little bit cut, then biyad potter avalosser b'chli chayiv chatas. Amar Reb Yehuda halacha Reb Shimon ben Elazar, halacha Reb Shimon ben Elazar.
Sorry. So what if I have a bad habit of biting my nails, and it's always a struggle for me. So what if you bite your nail a little bit, or mostly, but not completely, and then 10 hours later or 5 hours later, it's verubo, it's hanging, and then you complete the maisa. Would you be chayav?
I want to learn the Shulchan Aruch. I don't know the halacha. I want to learn the Shulchan Aruch after we get to the 2 dots to see if we can extract some information there. Amar with the halacha Reb Shimon ben Elazar, and Reb Shimon ben Elazar holds that it would be mutter. Amar Rabbi B'chan Rabbi Yechanan, v'hu shapirshu, and this is where the problem starts. This line, v'hu shapirshu klapi maila, only if it's separated towards the top, and u'mitzayir soisai, and it's driving you crazy, right? So the Gemara knew that. So what does it mean pirshu klapi maila? And this is where we're going to have to get clarity. So pirshu ruben means krively nothing. It's hanging, and you have this urge to get it off. And klapi maila, Rashi says, is letzaratzi payrin. His chil lifresh to kommissar letvei. So it seems to me, and argue with me if you think I'm wrong. I thought what it means is if the cuticle is connected towards the base of the nail, it's sticking up, it's loose towards the top of your finger, and you want to pull it off. So again, it's a cuticle that's connected towards the base of the nail. It's sticking up towards the end tip of your finger. That's what you're allowed to pull off. That's how I understood Rashi. Tosfos seems to say something different. Tosfos says, "V'husha pirsha klapi ma'ila, pirish b'kontros keneged rosh etzbaisav, shein l'mayla k'shem b'yadav." Where it's sticking out is up on top of your fingers. So it's sticking up over here, then you pull back. Or if I do a close-up, if you have a cuticle, it's coming out of here, and you peel it back towards the base of your finger, like I already did on this side. So that's how Rashi learns. Rabbeinu Tam, mefarish sheklape guf kari klape maila kida ashkechan the kamer min atar lemaila basa maila tara guf. So I don't know if I'm understanding it right, but Rabbeinu Tam learns you're peeling it from the base of your finger away from your finger. So it seems like we have a machloikus which way you're allowed to pull that cuticle, and according to one pshat it's allowed according to Rabbeinu Tam. According to one place, a lot according to Rashi, meaning we're stuck because we have to be machmer like both. So I don't know if we have any heterim. So let's just quickly look at what the halacha says, because a lot of people find this to be very relevant. So Shin Chav Ches, let me just look again to see where it is. It's Chav. So Shin Chav Ches, Lamed Aleph. So I have it prepared over here. So let's quickly look what it says. Lo tzipayin shapirsha. Your nail is loose. Vitzitzin and little pieces sticking out. Shehem kamin ritzuis takos. Shapartzu may arha etzbasav if it's which are cuticles. In parsha ruban, if they're mostly separated, klape maila towards the top, which we don't know what that means yet, and they're bothering them, they're bothering you, lasirin biyad mutter, you're allowed to take it away, you're allowed to pull it off with your finger, you're allowed to yank it off, but bechli potter aval aser. Loi pirsha ruban, if they're not separated most of the way, then biyad potter aval aser, then you're not allowed to take it off, but it's not a deraisa. Bechli chayiv chatas. Upirish Rashi, the devil is in the details. Klapi Maila is Klapi Rosh Etzbaisav according to Rashi. For Be'atam Pirish down to Klapi Aguf. V'tzorch Lochash L'shtei Perushim, meaning you can't really do anything. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Cotton Tzadik Hay. In Pirsha Ruban, B'tziparin. If we're talking about the nail, it means Hanu Rav Tziparin. Most of the nail is pulled off. Uvitzitsin, if you're talking about cuticles, Kasa for Primagodim, Eini Idea, Roiv Zeh, Me Ein Masel. Where does the Roiv start? Where does it end? How do you know exactly what Roiv is? V'efsher Dahainu, Kol Shedech B'nei Adam Liklaif Sham, Im Niklaf HaRoiv Mimenu Ketol Shtami. Whatever a person would normally take away from his cuticles, Roiv of that. I don't have clarity what that means. If someone can explain that, but let's just see the rest of the Mishnah Berurah. L'sirim biyad mutter, the chivin shapir sharuvan, once it's already mostly separated, kroiveli notek, it's going to pull off soon. Uchalushin dami, it's already considered cut off. It's going to eventually fall off by itself anyway. Therefore, hilchach b'makom tzayra, if it's driving you crazy, loy gozer rabbanon kishehu masiroi al yidei shinoi. Therefore, they will not be gozer if you're taking it off with a shinu. Ta'ani b'yadoi, because you're not using a tool, you're not using a clipper, or with your nails, or with your teeth. For tzarech lizoyer, you do have to be careful. Shelo yetzu dam. You have to be careful that you don't bleed, because then you have a whole new set of problems. You have the problem of chabura. Loy pirshu ruban, hu adin tafil loy pirshu klal poter biyad. Even if you're just biting your nails, lechatchila, it's not an issue d'oraisa. If you bite your nails or if you tear your nail with your other hand, it's potter biyad. They derech litnish biyadei, but avad it's aser. For nokte, and the reason why it chapped it on this case is lashmina to teach us tafilu bazeh aser, that would be aser. Chayiv chatas, what's that going on? Tzadik ches. Bechli is chayiv chatas. You're not allowed to use a nail clipper on Shabbos to total the goizes. L'shnei perushin. So this is where it's important. You have, when you're pulling cuticles off, you have to be machmer, side like Rashi and side like Rabbeinu Tam. Ulechein zok to Rishabura. Afilu pirsha rubin. Even if you have a cuticle that's dangling and you want to get rid of it, osir litlan afilu bayad. You're not allowed to pull it off. So you just got to bear that agony throughout the end of Shabbos when you have that cuticle sticking up. And that's why the best solution is moisturize all week long so you don't have those cuticles. Because those cuticles are nisyonis that are overwhelming. They are overwhelming. I don't know how you could stare at a little piece of skin sticking up. And if you notice it by Kabbalah Shabbos, and then by Musaf, you're going crazy already. Without a couple of shots of vodka, it's not going to work. So, but if you moisturize, I was told, I don't know if this is true, that the Chazoy Nish would not shake my hand. Because when he sees things like this on your finger, that you pick your fingers, he knew that someone who has a habit of picking their fingers, there's no way they could restrain themselves on Shabbos from doing it, and therefore he wouldn't shake their hands because he considered them not so careful about Shabbos. So the only answer that I have is moisturize with a high quality moisturizer.
Yossi, so the answer is only if you rip it completely then.
Only if you pull it off completely.
Okay, so if you start biting your nail but stop, then you're not over anything?
Yeah, but is that physically possible for a human to do?
Sometimes I do. I start and then I stop.
Wow. Okay.
So back to my original question.
That's like eating one. That's like taking a Lay's potato chip bag
one all dressed. So again, back to my question: if I started and then stopped, and and then later finished the job, so that I don't know, whatever.
It seems like it's a derabbanan, right? It seems like it's a derabbanan. So it's potter of a losser. So it's definitely something that we all need chizukin. Okay. Zog the hele Gemara weiter.
Yes, he just announced if we can. I don't know where you're planning to pull in for a rest stop, but there is 2 spots. We have 2 spots available for a backyard minyan at 8 a.m. Please private message me if you want to come. 8 a.m. today. We're going to say Tachnun. We may not say Leining. So anybody wants to come in for 8 a.m.
If anybody wants Kriyas Torah, 8:30 Baruch Hu. Kriyas Torah is probably about 8:45, 8:50.
Q, what time's Mincha, Marv?
Mincha is at 6 and Mariv is at 9:45. At least that's what it was yesterday. We go day to day.
So we have 6:30, 9:45.
I'll talk to you later.
6:30, 9:45.
You're 6 and 9:45?
Yeah.
It's funny, we're gonna start printing. We're gonna start printing
I know.
a minyan directory. Yeah, I know. The police would love a copy of it. So V'chena Gedelas, we're talking about hairstyles. Gedelas was braiding hair. Chechelas is blush. Paikeses was either combing her hair, or it was blush, putting on blush. Mishamai Mechayev. What are the avers? What are the malachs involved? Omar Babin, Omar Bishop Bechanina. Gedelas is also Mishumai Reges. It's like she's weaving. Chechelas, putting on eyeshadow, Mishum Kosevis. It's like writing. Paikeses Mishum Toiva. So why would it be spinning? Either if she's combing her hair and she's separating her hair strands, that's like spinning, it's making strands. If it means putting this thing on your face that's like blush, it's because that dough, when they would pull it, it would become like strands. So that's where the malacha is taiva. Is this how you weave? It's not derech hariga. So why would there be a chiyuv? Is this how you write? It's not normal ksiva. And surely this is not the way you spin. I had a different shot in what these isurim were, and it was it's because she's dying. It's because she's like building. In fact, it's called building when a woman is doing herself up. Even Hashem Elokim is Hatzela. When Hashem created Chava for Adam, it says Hashem built her. Melamed Shekila HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeChava. Hashem didn't just create her, but Hashem gave her a hairstyle. Hashem braided her hair to make her beautiful, and the pasuk refers to that act of making her beautiful with the word vayiven. Vehevia etel adam shekain b'karchei hayom karin likalisa benisa. The word to describe braided hair is benisa, which is like the word vayiven. So you see that the word binyan is appropriate to use for a woman making her hair. And here we can stop.
Shkoyach.
Yosy Zalman,
Yes.
do you remember? Hold on one second. Do you remember a couple of months, maybe a couple of months ago or weeks ago, we spoke about tree logs, that whether they were muktzah or not. Do you remember, like unsplit firewood? And I remember that we came to the conclusion, I guess from the Gemara, that that tree logs, because they were always muchen to be used as a chair, they were not considered muktzah on Shabbos. Do you remember something like that?
I do vaguely remember that.
I'm trying to find that this was actually a shaila that we had over Shabbos in the country, and I picked up the tree logs because of the way I remember we learned, and everybody started to yell at me, and I told them the svara that they're always ready to be used as a chair, and they said, okay, we got to look it up. Fine, okay, but I'm trying to look it up and I can't find it.
Uh-huh. I'm not sure. Let's see. We can ask the Rebbe of all Rebbes. I'll look it up. I'll ask the Rebbe of all Rebbes. It's the easiest way to find things. So I'll look it up right now. See what we can find. Okay. So we're going to say Eitzim Muchanim liyeshiva. Eitzim Muchanim liyeshiva. Let's see what comes up. Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim. Look at that. Beautiful. Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim. Let's see where it is. Let's see if I can find it. He brings down from the Shulchan Aruch Harav. This is incredible. Afilum lochishav aleim klal yeshiva. Here, I'll put it over here. We can read it together. So here it is. I'm not sure if you can see. So afilu im lochishav aleim klal yeshiva el she'ira mikra sheyashav aleim ma'at kodim Shabbos mutar lataltal b'Shabbos l'sadrom u'liyashav aleim v'wadin l'tzorich mekoyma l'tzorich atzma kidin klisha malachta leheter l'fi shekivan shedarka shel choriyos liyachtem gam ken liyeshiva l'fichach kivan shechashav aleim huchnu liyeshiva ayidei v'nas aleim teres kli. So it says, the Shulchan Aruch Harav says, it's Shin Ches. So let's look it up in the Mishnah Shin Ches. The Shulchan Aruch is saying is that it's called Muchen Yeshiva only if it's Keshechishav Aleim. You don't have to make a physical change to it to prepare it for Yeshiva. If you merely thought, since it's very often done, therefore, if you thought of it before, it has to be that you thought of it before.
So far, it's not like what I said.
Right. Yeah. Or punct you sat on it. I feel like Chishav Klal Yeshiva Ella She'ira Mikra Sheyashav Aleim Ma'at Kodim Shabbos. You also had to have sat on it, or you had to have sat on it before Shabbos. But on its own, maybe not. Let me look up. Let me see what it says here in the. It's Shin Ches, right? So let me see what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. Because the Shulchan Aruch Harav probably is going according to the Simonim of the Shulchan Aruch. It's a very long simon, but let's see what he says. So let's see if it talks about Eitzim. Isser. It was negated Chariyos Dekel, which is the Gemara's case. And those were leaves. Now I remember learning it.
I basically went over to my wood pile, and some of them were already split, and some of them weren't. And because I had remembered that unsplit firewood is always ready to be used as a chair, so I did not have to have this in mind.
So let's look. I found the mechaper. So let's have a look at it. Choriyos shel dekel. You have these leaves, branches of leaves of dekel. Shekat stomach shreifa. They're firewood, which is exactly what you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me bring this a little higher. You have firewood. Muksamheim v'osel ataltalim. You're not allowed to be metaltalim. But yoshev aleim ma'at mebayjoim. What if you did sit on them a little bit once on the Erev Shabbos? Mutter leishav aleim b'Shabbos. V'chol shekein im koshem leishav aleim. Surely if you tie them in bundles, or im chishav aleim mebayjoim leishav aleim afilu b'chol. So it's saying you had to have had before Shabbos. Let's look at Pei Aleph through Pei Vav. Shekat l'shreifa mashma destama lo yasiri. Dafke, it's only a problem if the purpose of them being cut was for firewood. If you just cut them because you want to cut down the tree, then maybe there wouldn't be a problem at all. Most of the time, people avoid it for a sukkah. Each of the is more shesh baroshak mimos ken mislag shroi litzlav dli ulamalas boy avol pisha chishav alav me'er Shabbos lamalas boy also lamalas boy Shabbos and going to sure badli. That's something else. Fossil tatlam hanu tiltul mamish avol leishav aleim kishein mezizim kaiman vaday shari. So you're allowed to sit on them if you don't move them, if you don't have to relocate them. So we're getting closer. We're going closer, Chaim Shvi. So if you didn't have to move them, then you could not sit on them. Even since you're moving them as you're sitting down, the tiltul manatzaru calls man shevazizim biyadayim. Umatzasi b'meiri shegam hu iskul zeh rak shekosov the b'makoyim shein tzorich rari lifresh mezeh. Papu shel chishav b'joyim the bezeh sheyoshav gola daitoy to yeshiva kaimoy v'husar alei me'aleim shemuksa. So it sounds from here like you would have had to either in your mind have thought before Shabbos that you're going to sit on them, or if you sat on them before Shabbos. Otherwise, you're still allowed to sit on them, but you're not allowed to relocate them to sit on them.
So somehow what happened to our svara? Why did we come up with such a svara? Or we never did?
Well, the svara is probably that you don't need a maisa. You don't need a maisa. A machshava mu'etes before Shabbos would be enough because of that. But that's only if you had it designated for firewood. If you sometimes, like I have wood that I cut down, it's not firewood. I cut it down because my trees are overhanging, and I didn't have a chance to take it to the curb yet.
Right.
So that wood is not firewood. But if it's wood that I purposely stored behind my shed to use for bonfires, then I'd have to designate it to sit before I could sit on it.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid that I actually had it designated for firewood, but because it wasn't cut yet, it was a whole log, and it was suitable for sitting. I thought I remembered that that's the way we spoke. Okay, I made a big boo-boo. All right, Yasher Koyach.
But the halacha is if you're over a drabanan b'shoigig, you don't even have to do tshuva. You don't even have to do tshuva for a shoigig of a drabanan.
But I don't know if you should go back and try to tell them again. By the way, I was wrong, and I don't have to do tshuva. I think Chaim Tzvi, you can let go.
No, they're going to demand a kiddush, I know.
A carbon chatas.
Is the halacha in the country the same as the city? Is Bel Yord have the same kind of chumras that a city has? No?
You mean regarding minyanim? Yeah, we're making minyanim out in the yards.
No, just in general. I don't mean minyanim.
I want to tell you, all of these minyanim outside are going to change the moment it gets terribly humid and you need air conditioning. And and the same thing with the cold. If it gets very cold, people are going to start making their minyanim inside.
Well, even the legalities, right? They started to open the beaches and all of this only because